We're going to start with this man here, SEŠKO, signing for Manchester United. They've been after a big striker all summer. What do you make of what you know about SEŠKO?
I think it's a good signing, and you can clearly see why a lot of clubs were after him. He's still young. He's obviously got a lot of potential and a lot of sort of, you know, growth within that ability that we've already seen. He's certainly got the physicality that you think could certainly perform in the Premier League. He's a real presence. You feel that, you know, if they want to play the ball into him, he could certainly hold the ball up and link play. Balls and more creativity. You look at that front line now and you think, wow, this could be really exciting for Manchester United.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously bringing in the likes of Mbeumo, we've seen them, they were introduced to the Old Trafford crowds at the start of the game. Do you think United fans, as you said, should be excited about what's ahead for this new season?
I think so, and Ruben Amorim obviously came in mid-season. He didn't want to do that. He wanted a pre-season with his team. I think to change a style and a philosophy mid-season was always going to be difficult. And you know, he's now had that pre-season. He's now got the players in there that he obviously wants to get in. I think there's going to be certainly outgoings from a Manchester United perspective. But yeah, if I was a Manchester United fan, I'd certainly be looking forward to watching these players play, because yes, you've got you know, somebody that may take a little bit of time to adapt to the Premier League in SEŠKO, but you've got, like you say, Mbeumo, you know, Cunha, players that are Premier League ready. You know, they know how to perform. We know that they've got absolute star quality, whether that's goals, whether that's assists. So yeah, I'd certainly be excited, I think.
Yeah. What about the situation with Alexander Isak? Because Newcastle missing out on SEŠKO, they're now seeming to say that Alexander Isak is going to be kept at the club, that they won't sell him. What do you make of the situation overall here, from both the club's perspective and the players' perspective?
It's really difficult, isn't it? I feel so sorry for Newcastle, because it was such a feel-good season last year, winning the trophy, and I just felt if they keep all of their key players and then they add to those key players. But the fact now they've been in, I know they've brought in a latency within the camp, that's not what he would want. So I think from a club's perspective, they probably just want clarity. If he's going to go, then he needs to go, and they need to bring in two strikers pretty quickly, because they're relying on one young forward. I know the likes of Anthony Gordon could potentially play there, but ideally that's what he would want to do. So making that business and making it happen pretty quickly is going to be quite tough. And then from a player's perspective, again, you just want it done, don't you? You just want to know where you're going to be next season. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's been a real saga, hasn't it, over this transfer window, and I feel like it's just going to continue.
I was going to say, you get the feeling the saga's not finished yet at all. No. Obviously there's reports saying that Newcastle are saying he won't be sold.
Yeah.
If he's not sold, how hard is it to reintegrate a player when he's kind of knowingly unhappy with the situation?
I think, you know, from a player's perspective, if I was in that dressing room and, you know, and Isak came back, I think I'd just be happy that he was there, because I'd think, well, he's a top quality striker. We've saw what he's done in the Premier League. He can win games for us. So I think, you know, it may be initially a little bit awkward, but I think you'd sort of, you know, you'd welcome him in the end. But I think from a fan's perspective, you know, you see a player wanting to leave, it's probably quite difficult at first to accept him then coming back in. But again, if he starts scoring the goals and assisting, then it's quickly forgotten. It's quickly forgotten, of course it is. But yeah, at the moment it's just a bit of an awkward situation. You want a player that wants to be there and wants to play for the football club. So I think that's what Eddie Howe will be thinking. You know, we want him to be here, we want him to be performing at the levels that he was last year.
Yeah, and we're talking lots of ifs here. You mentioned before that if he did end up going, they might need a couple of players that they might need to bring in. Where do you think Newcastle could look, though, for those players? Well,
that's the thing, isn't it? I know he's obviously, Newcastle have been linked with Wissa, but again, Brentford are probably looking at that thinking, we've lost a lot of key players. We've lost goals in Mbeumo, Norgard, our captain, our leader. Do you really, manager, you know, so then do you really want to go and lose another